Was headed home to see my family, and I'd just crossed the Kansas border when I run my truck up on a snowdrift put there by a fast-moving norther. And I hid there in the cab until my fuel began to run low. And then off in the distance I thought I saw a warm fire glow. It was from the window of this line shack. Must have been about a half mile off the road. So I pulled my collar up and grabbed my guitar, and I set out across the snow. This old cowboy said, "Come on in, friend. Looks like you shiver right down to your soul." And he handed me a jug of something warm, and I tipped it up with my elbow. He said he worked this shack as a line camp every year around calving season, and he brought his upright bass along to pass the time, if for no other reason. I just sat down by the fire, and he saw my guitar, and he asked if I knew how to use it. And I just grinned and cracked my knuckles, and we started into making music. Thumbing that bass and keeping pretty good time, and we was passing that jug back and forth. And I was almost thawed out when there came another lonesome knock at the door. This tall, skinny fella blew in. He couldn't have been no bigger round than a fence post. And his breath was white, and his hands were blue, and he had red there across his nose. Said he was headed home from a barn dance and took a wrong turn in the shifting snow. And he just passed my truck in the ditch when his own slid off the road. And then he noticed we'd been making music, and he asked if he could join in. And then he opened up this case he'd been carrying and stuck a fiddle underneath his chin. And then he give it a tune, and he give it a drag, and he made that horsehair whine. And then he stomped his foot, and he called out a tune, and we all fell right in time. We was raising hell and praising the Lord, and we'd worked up a righteous sound when that snowdrift claimed one more victim, a traveling preacher trying to make it to town. He said he'd followed the sound of music like it was angels calling him up higher. And we ushered him in, and we gave him the jug, and we sat him down by the fire. And he asked if he might persuade us to join him in this old sad gospel song. And then he reached down inside this pocket of a big old overcoat that he had on. And he produced a harmonica and gave a few notes that made us all feel safe and warm. And then he took a deep breath and let loose a howl like a demon outside in that storm. I woke up with the sun and had to rub my eyes to make sense of all that I'd found. There was a cold campfire and an empty jug. There wasn't nobody else around. And I got to my feet and shuffled down to my truck. And I shivered when I turned around, 'cause there was only one set of tracks going up to that cabin, and only one coming down.